Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, all the students. Good morning, my able instructor. My name is Uduak Jackson. I am here to present my PowerPoint presentation of Field 1404 Introduction of Global Ethics. The topic I chose is a corporation that fails to respect workers' rights, such as sweet shops in Bangladesh, a Kantian dietological analysis. This is presented by Uduak Jackson, University of People, Discussion Presentation, Unit 6. Hello everyone, my name is Uduak Jackson. In this presentation, I will examine the ethical issues of corruptions that fails to respect workers' rights, such as sweet shops in Bangladesh. Using Immanuel Kant's dietological ethics, I will explain I will explain how the three formulations of the categorical imperative apply to these issues. Finally, I will show why Keynes believes that exploiting workers for profit is morally wrong because it violates moral duty and human dignities. The first one is presentation overview. We have overview, introduction to dictology, deontology, kinds, categorical, impressive, and others. First, I will briefly explain deontology and kinds, categorical, impressive. Next, I will discuss the issue of corporations that fails to respect workers' rights and evaluate its using kinds. It evaluates its using kinds trace formulations. Finally, I will summarize the main point and explain why kinds consider workers' exploitation to be morally wrong. What is deontology? For me to explain this, deontology is an ethical theory developed by Immanuel Kant. Unlike, unlike utilitarianism, which focuses on consequences, deontology teaches that actions are morally right when the moral duty and principles. Kant believed that every person has inherent, inherent dignity and should always be treated with respect, regardless of the benefits and others. Next slide. We have the ethical scenario. The scenario I choose is cooperation that fails to respect workers' rights, that fails to respect workers' rights, especially those operating through swift shops. In those workplaces, employees often face low wages, long working hours, and unsafe conditions. Next, we have Kant's categorical impressive. Kant's categorical impressive is the foundation of his moral philosophy. It consists of three formations: the universal law, which asks whether an action could become a universal rules. Humanity as an aim, which requires treats which requires treating every person with dignity and never merely as a means, and the kingdom of ends, which encourages us to imagine a society where everyone follows moral laws and respect one another. First formation, universal law. When we talk about universal law, the first formation is the universal law. Kant says we should ask whether the rules behind an action could be followed by everyone. In this case, the rule will be that corporations can ignore workers' rights to increase profit. If every company acted this way, workers will face unsafe conditions, low wages, and unfair treatment, since such a world would be unjust and unacceptable. Kant concludes that exploring, exploiting workers is morally wrong because it cannot be universalized. The next one we have is applying the universal laws. It shows that exploiting workers is morally wrong. If every corporations ignore workers' rights to increase profit, unfair treatment and unsafe working conditions would become normal. This will create an unjust society where human dignity is not respected. For the sake of our time, I will not explain everything. The next one, the second formulation, humanity as an end. The second formulation is humanity as an end. Kant believed that every person has inherent dignity and should never be treated merely as a mere to achieve someone else's goals. In a business setting, this means corporations should value their employees as human beings by providing fair treatment. Applying human as an end. When corporation pays unfair wages or exposes employees to unsafe working conditions, they place profits above human dignity. Instead of respecting workers as individuals, they treat them as tools for making money. According to Kant, this is morally wrong because every person deserves respect and should never be used merely as a means. For the third formation, kingdom of ends. The third formation is the Kant's kingdom of end, which asks us to imagine a society where everyone follows moral laws and respects one another. In such in such a society, no one will accept unsafe working conditions, unfair wages, or exploitation for the sake of profits. Therefore, corporations that exploit workers be part cannot be part of Kant's kingdom of ends. Applying kingdom of ends. The kingdom of ends shows us what an ethical company should be like in Kant's society, treated with equal respect and dignity. This means companies should provide fair wages, safe working conditions, and respect the rights of their employees. Kant's ethical theory teaches that business have responsibilities beyond making profit. Companies should always treat workers with respect of providing fair wages, safe working conditions, and ethical treatment. According to deontology, some actions are wrong no matter what benefits they bring. So even if employ, exploiting workers increases profit, it is still morally wrong because it violates their dignity and rights. Conclusion. In conclusion, Kant's categorical imperative shows that exploiting workers is morally wrong. The main lesson from this presentation is that ethical businesses is about treating people with respect, not just profits. Not just profits. References, these are the sources I use to prepare this presentation. Thank you very much. I appreciate. God bless you.